while we all settle down, I would like to bring on screen the videos of Informa Global and Informa India. The videos, please. Yeah. The videos are live.
At Informa Markets, right conversations enable rewarding market connections. Informa Markets.
Thank you for your patient eyes and ears. Thank you. Requesting Mr. Yogesh Mudras to step up for his welcome address. Yogesh Mudras, please.
This is probably the only time I get to remove my mask. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries and friends from the industry for joining us for this inauguration of the 14th edition of REI. We are happy to be back with our physical events after, I would say, a long gap of 2 years now. And what a way to be back. I think we are seeing a great support that we have seen for this event and get confidence from the industry to do this event. Let me welcome the guests who have joined us. I think, first of all, a grand welcome to our guest of honor, Shri Bhagwanth Khuba, Honorable Minister of State, New and Renewable Energy, Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India. Sir, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come and inaugurate our event. It shows a great support for this sector per se. His Excellency Alex Ellis, British High Commissioner to India. Thank you, sir, for joining us. His Excellency Mr. Astuto, Ambassador to the European Union of European Union to India. His Excellency Walter J. Lindner, German Ambassador to India. Shri K.S. Popli, Advisor, International Solar Alliance. Shri Narendra Bhooshan ji, IS Chief Executive Officer, Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority. Shri Sanjeev Krishan, Chairman PwC India, who is joining us virtually. So he is here in the background. He will be, unfortunately couldn't make it physically, so he will be addressing us, is a part of the inauguration panel. And of course, my colleague Rajneesh Khattar, who is the Group Director of the Energy Portfolio at Informa Markets in India. Looking at the RE sector, as we all know, India is the fourth most attractive renewable energy market in the world at this stage, as we know globally. The recent milestone which the India has crossed of 100 gigawatts, which the government had set, is a big milestone in itself, which we had set as a target. And government has highlighted India's progress at every forum, at every opportunity, how renewable energy sector is the most critical sector for the growth of economy. It's now upon us as a nation, as corporate India, as well as its citizens to work collectively towards growing this green economy of India and of our nation. With the ample push from the government, we could witness investments as high as US $500 billion coming into this sector by year 2028. As we all know, we have a revised set of targets of 450 gigawatts to be achieved by 2030. So I think that's where the investment would come from. Over the years, this Expo, Renewable Energy India, has been recognized as the most comprehensive and reputed global platform for the renewable energy domain, addressing challenges and ushering solutions for India's green mission. We are calling it as a Restart 2.0 for our exhibition business. As Informa Markets in India, we kickstarted our physical events within the pandemic in the month of March, where we launched our travel show in this same venue in the month of March, but then we were struck by a pandemic. So now we are coming back with our live events. We did a small event in Hyderabad, followed by now this a larger format event in Delhi, right now in Greater Noida. So we are happy to back at this critical juncture for the gradual rebuilding of our economy when the economy is opening up. It is now the need for the policy makers as well as industry players to keep engaging for a sustainable post-pandemic world, and that we all know is the need of the hour. This expo, which is a 3-day expo where you're seeing all the exhibitors out here, is also accompanied by a intense 3-day knowledge exchange forum, which is right here in this room, which would help scale up sustainable, innovative, reliable, technologically efficient and modern energy solutions for this industry. We also have a concurrent all CEOs roundtable that is going to happen, which is a closed door session today afternoon, followed by a finance leadership forum where the finance leaders from various sectors of this industry are going to be discussing closed door all their challenges and opportunities. For the first time, we are having UK as our partner country. Thank you so much for partnering with us, for coming on this RE platform. Also, European Union as our premium partner for this event. Thank you so much for this. We have some of the biggest industry stalwarts who have joined us for this event. So just to name a few: Adani Solar, Longi Solar, Goldie Solar, Premier Energies, Vikram Solar, Growwatt, Solis, Vari Energies, Panasonic Life Sciences, Jackson Engineering, and Bhooshan Group, just to name a few of them. So thank you for the industry for coming out with full strength to support us for gradually relaunching this physical events, really. Since the pandemic, we as Informa Markets India have delivered 8 live events in 6 different cities in India, plus 2 international events overseas in Saudi Arabia, adhering to the Informa All Secure standards and commitments. As a world leading event organizer, Informa has developed a detailed set of enhanced measures to provide highest level of hygiene and safety at our event so that you all attendees can feel safe to come, meet, network, and do business. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the supporting associations who have joined us, and they have been really key for us to get this event started. Indian Biogas Association, Bridge to India, National Solar Energy Federation of India, Indo-German Energy Forum Support Office, and the Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority for all their support to make this event happen out here. Thank you. I can't thank all the exhibitors, experts and sponsors who have joined us here for their faith and confidence in us to deliver this event. And a big thank you to each and every attendee to showing that fearless commitment to help the industry rebound. So thank you so much for coming here in full strength to join us for this event. Wish you all success over this next 3 days and joy of reconnecting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. May I now request Mr. Sanjeev Krishan, Chairman, PwC India, who joins us virtually to present the global perspective. Mr. Sanjeev.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. It's great to see this event taking place physically after what seemed to be an eternity. So congratulations to Yogesh and the team to put it all together. On behalf of PwC India, I'd like to welcome all the esteemed dignitaries, guests, and of course, all the attendees. I'd like to begin by actually asking a question. You know, we have actually had a great monsoon in northern India. You know, we have clear skies, there are fresh winds, and we are sort of enjoying the monsoon at the moment. The atmosphere is cleaner. But the question that I want to ask is that how long do we think this is going to last? How long are the clear skies going to last? Just about a month from now, it could well be that we once again see smoky skies and the pollution levels are going to be much higher. We might actually blame it to stubble burning, which obviously contributes every year. But the question that I must ask is that is that the only reason? I can tell you that, you know, when I go for my morning walks, and I actually live in Delhi, happen to be in Kolkata today, you know, every morning that I get into Shri Fort, you know, and as I come back, I see the pollution index and it says severe. And it says so very, very often. Do we deserve this? And should we be trying to change this? And I think that sort of should set the tone for this conference. Just 2 days ago, the United Nations Human Rights Chief recognized pollution, climate change, and nature loss as severe threats to human rights. Pollution control, pollution and climate change have gone from textbooks and environmental education classes in school to being real life nightmares, and some of us are living it right now. I hope the picture that I painted helps you envision and understand how the global energy market is changing and what will continue to change. If I could leave you with few clear messages on how the global perspective is evolving, I will possibly pick up 3 points. The first point is it's going to be a very different mix of energy in the future. The second one is going to be convergence. And the third one is going to be the higher level of complexities that each one of us as components of the ecosystem will have to endure. Let me try and address each one of these. So the first one, you know, how is the energy portfolio changing? There's no denying the fact that ever since the Industrial Revolution started, fossil fuels have played a critical role. Even today, nearly 80% of energy requirements of the world are met via sources of conventional energy. But this is changing very, very rapidly. Take, for example, electricity generation. Today, 29% of electric generation comes from renewable sources globally. By 2040, this will reach 47%, which is nearly half the requirement. Which, keeping in mind the rise in total demand, which is a very significant number, is a significant improvement. By 2050, renewables are expected to account for more than 90% of energy demand, with the balance coming in from fossil fuels. The 2015 Paris Agreement, to which 190 countries are a party, the net zero commitments being announced periodically, and the government support of the renewable energy are all steps in the right direction. The next trend is convergence. As the use of renewable energy, whether solar, wind, tidal, or geothermal increases, we are seeing the lines between renewable and traditional energy blurring. The traditional model required each player in the ecosystem to have a clear role. Example, the oil and gas companies and the utility companies. However, today, oil and gas companies are venturing in the utility domain, and utility companies are venturing into the storage domain. A simple example of this is how the electricity vehicle market is evolving. A decade ago or so, we never thought that we would have a sports car being run on electricity. But today, we have the Tesla Roadster, and people are buying it because it is a sports car, not just because it's a Tesla. Additionally, we see many traditional energy players actually getting into setting up charging infrastructure and such vehicles. And this is absolutely critical because we do believe that unless we set up the right ecosystem, just by doing parts of the investment on the value chain, it's not going to help us. The convergence is needed because the entire ecosystem needs to be developed. For otherwise, some of the investments that we may do, let's say we develop some products, but unless we provide them the entire ecosystem, some of these investments will be of no value. So the convergence becomes very, very important. Energy players can no longer focus on just one option, and that's something which is getting very, very clear. They must be able to give their consumers an integrated energy experience with interchangeable sources. It is in this seamless experience that consumers are demanding to power their homes, vehicles, and even workplaces. Several of the world's largest oil and gas players have pledged to reduce their future net greenhouse gas emissions to zero. This simply indicates that they have acknowledged the change that they must make, and this is absolutely incredible. Some of the largest names actually have taken that commitment, and I'm so glad that that change is happening, and it's happening fast. The third piece is how our energy systems are becoming more and more complex, and we need to recognize it and acknowledge it. We have newer and more powerful sources of energy cropping up, very consistent, whether gray or green hydrogen, capturing and recycling CO2, synthetic fuels, newer forms of energy storage, and how they interact with the existing system. The list goes on. Possibly the one area that I'm most excited about is the wider ecosystem for hydrogen. Personally, I think it might take at least a decade for this to sort of really come into force and be monetizable and be a sustained energy form. However, the progress that has been made on this count has been very, very significant. There is massive investment which is happening. We all know about a $5 billion production facility which has been commenced in Saudi Arabia to set up the world's largest green hydrogen project. And this is only one of the many. There are significant commitments being made by the EU in this space, and we need to watch this space for future action. With all these exciting new developments happening around the world, clearly it is an interesting time for India as well. Rather, it is an even more exciting time for us as we embark on a journey to be a 5 trillion economy, where obviously the cities will grow, industries will need more power, usage of appliances will increase, and transportation needs will grow. Clearly, we must significantly ramp up our energy capabilities. At the same time, as a global citizen, while we must not limit our growth ambition, we do have a responsibility towards the planet, ensuring that we do our part on that front as well and employ clean energy means as much as possible. We have made significant progress, incidentally. It's not as if that India has sort of not focused on it. We actually, if you look at installed renewable energy capacity, today stands at 146 gigawatt, which contributes to 37% of the country's total capacity. Keeping in mind the goal of achieving the 175 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2022, we seem to be on the right path. Not only is this in line with our own plans, the world is clearly recognizing India's efforts on this zone. In terms of our country's attractiveness index, India has already become the third most preferred renewable energy market across the world. This is the culmination of years of investment and policies, whether the 100% FDI allowance or other measures taken to ensure ease of doing business, or the $70 billion which has been spent on renewable energies over the last 7 years. The toil must, however, continue. There is much work ahead of us. And if we are to sort of meet our 450 gigawatt renewable energy capacity target, which we have set for 2030, we will need investments. The investments would possibly be to the tune of $500 billion in developing clean energy projects, which will take us to very significant levels. And almost 60% of those coming from solar and wind is the expectation. The opportunity ahead continues to be massive. Interestingly, an IEA report says that within 20 years, majority of India's emissions will come from power plants, industrial facilities, buildings, and vehicles that do not exist today. And that's a challenge that we have to make. A simple but powerful statement that lays down how important the future is for all of us. The time to do this is now, and we will all be part of creating history if we can actually put our heads together. On this note, I very much look forward to hearing from all the eminent speakers in this exposition about the various facets of clean energy and how we can do more on this front. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev, and thank you for your time and bringing the global perspective. May I now request His Excellency Walter J. Lindner, German Ambassador to India, to present his keynote address. Ambassador, please.
Honorable Minister of State, distinguished CEOs, heads of institutions, members of ministries who are digitally connected, Excellencies, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Namaskar, Shubh Din, Aapse Mika Bahut Khushi Hui. Aapse akonse deka khushi hui. It's good to see you with your own eyes. It's the first time since 1.5 years that I'm in this building again, and I think it's high time that we do some baby steps to come back. But of course, carefully, with masks and distance. But it's a good sign that for such an occasion, we restart our activities, even in physical presence. The topic is, God knows, important enough. Now, when I was in the car driving to Noida, I was thinking, what could I tell you what you haven't heard so far? All the experts and people who deal with this topic since ages. Let me give you a few observations. One, the first is, we as diplomats or as politicians, members of parliament, decision makers, we have to deal with a lot of daily, day-to-day topics, be it the difficult situation in Afghanistan, or COVID, of course, or new elections. There's always something which is very important at hand, very much. But let's not forget there's something which is always in the backseat, glimmering, which is the situation of this global planet. What kind of planet do we hand over to our children's children? What you see out there is a global perfect storm, which is a combination of 3 factors, which is global warming, then population growth, and the minimization or the diminution of resources. All this together will lead us to 10 billion people in 50 years with less resources, and maybe with 2 degrees more heat in the oceans and in the atmosphere. We can't do that. There's a sense of urgency which we should always keep in mind, even if we deal with the problems at hand, as I said. Secondly, thank God, this is of course not only since the Friday for Future movement, this is something which is high on the agenda of international politics, United Nations, but also individual countries, and that's why the Paris Treaty is so important. But also individually, every country has to do its job to make it happen that this is not a 12 situation which we have. We all have to have a sense of urgency, and we all have to reconsider our priorities and see that we save the planet. Now, Germany, thirdly, it's the biggest economic power in Europe. It's the 4th biggest economy in the world. And luckily, we were one of the few nations, or the first nations, with a green movement and with an environmental protection movement 30 years ago already. The first Green Party, if I'm not mistaken, was formed in Germany. And we have even a candidate for chancellery who is running for Prime Minister's office in 2 weeks from the Green Party. So all the parties in Germany now have a green agenda, which is a good development. And already by the previous governments, the decision of an Energiewende, as we call it, it's a transition of energy, led to 3 decisions. One was 10 years ago to denounce all use of nuclear power. A country where you had more than 28 nuclear power plants out there decided to give it up. And within 10 years, I think next year, the last of the nuclear power plants will get off-grid. So we will not have any nuclear power anymore from next year on. Second, the use of coal-powered energy. We have made a decision that by the year 2038, Germany will have no more coal-fired energy. Thirdly, carbon neutral Germany. We are working on the goal, and we have decided that by the year 2045, which is 5 years earlier, I guess, as the European Union countries, 45, we will be carbon neutral. That's something for a country with a high industry and a lot of industrial activities. But given the facts and the threats which I described before, it's high time that we do this. And fourthly, we do this all together, of course, with our European partners, with UK, with international partners, and with India, of course. Now we already have a very strong connection with India in this field of solar energy, of green mobility. We have this already in many sectors since 10 years, and we are very active on it. Be it in Nagpur, in Bhubaneswar, in Cochin, Delhi, in last mile connectivity, metros, you name it. We have a lot of cooperation there, and we will do more. And we have to be innovative, we have to find new fields also. One of this is the international use of hydrogen, international green hydrogen energy, and I think your ministry is very crucial in doing so. So there are a lot of things to do, and the urgency is there. Let's not waste time. I'm happy that there are at least 40 German companies, either digitally or personally here in the hall. And I'm happy that we can inaugurate this meeting today. So I wish everyone and us and all the people who participate a successful and fruitful Expo 21. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Now may I request His Excellency Alex Ellis, British High Commissioner to India, to present his keynote address.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Minister, colleagues. Thank you very much for you all for being present. मैं भी कुछ हूँ कि हम लोग यहाँ हैं आज. I'm not sure that merits applause, but it's a start. All right. Dhanyavad. So, I will try to say 10 things in less than 10 minutes, and I can count to 10 in Hindi. So, ek. To thank you all for coming here today. It's great to have an event organized by Informa Markets, which is a huge international company based in the UK. So thank you very much to them for this. And it's a pleasure to share the platform with colleagues and distinguished colleagues from India and from all over the world, as well as the Minister. So last week, I went to Mumbai, and I met some of the biggest companies in India in Mumbai, and I asked them, why are you doing all this sustainable stuff? And they gave lots of good answers. But the best answer came from one of the biggest companies, actually a cement company. And they said, to survive. In other words, these big long-term companies, family companies, existed for several generations. They see you have to adapt to survive, and that means surviving by being sustainable. Now, the reasons why, we all know, although you said it, the IPCC report tells us how the world is changing as a result of climate change. And that includes here in India, less rain, heavier rain, more intense bursts, greater heat. And if you think about climate change, in a way it's a change in our water system, essentially transforming ice, and you have the biggest block of ice in the world, and snow, to seawater. That is what climate change is, a water transfer. And that transfer probably will have bigger effects on India than almost any country I can think of. So it's a big challenge. It's a challenge for all of us. And we're all trying to find our ways of dealing with it in different ways. Changes in nuclear power, Walter, you were talking about that. Ending coal, well, we finished producing electricity from coal, I think, already, Walter. But we have nuclear, some others have nuclear. We're all trying to find our way of dealing with this problem. India has kind of shown a very strong lead. It's great to have the International Solar Alliance here today because that's a really strong international effort by India. The renewables targets, incredibly ambitious, but also being successfully achieved. Who could believe that India could beat England twice at cricket in London in 3 weeks? And yet, India is capable of many things. You just need Jasprit Bumrah now to be helping with the renewables effort, I think. Huge ambition and also reality. And all of our countries are trying to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. The UK, we've reduced ours by 40% compared to 1990. Others have done similar things. And we have a target to go to 78% reduction compared to 1990 by 2035. But we're all doing the same things. We've also next got to learn. We've got to learn from each other. Some of the things we are trying to do now are some of the most difficult things to do. How do you produce carbon neutral cement? Now that is a really hard thing to do. Carbon neutral steel, this will require great innovation on hydrogen, in other areas as well. And the gentleman from PwC talked about hydrogen. So we need to do this, and we need to do it together through developing knowledge. And that's one of the things I think the UK and India and others can do together. Now, as I said, the UK is doing its thing on offshore wind in particular. We aim to have 40 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030. India has about the same target. Energy efficiency, storage and mobility. These are all things where the UK and India can work together. We're looking beyond the UK and India, the small island developing states. How are we going to help with their climate resilient infrastructure? Jason, I don't know whether Jamaica counts as a small island developing state, but it is essential that we have climate resilient infrastructure, the CDRI, a great Indian initiative. We need money. That's why the UK's development arm, the CDC, has announced $1.2 billion worth of investment in sustainable projects over the next few years. That's why our export finance operation offers £4 billion worth of guarantees for renewable energy, something which I hope companies here will avail themselves of. This is all fine and it's all good, but in the end, it doesn't get done without companies. Companies, the private sector, frankly, is the place which turns the vision into the reality. And you have some amazing companies in India, sir, who are doing extraordinary things. And we are going to need all of our companies to be investing and to be developing the solutions to some of these problems. Ronald Reagan once said that the most frightening phrase in English was, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." But I think in this area, you do need government as well as the private sector. And the UK is here, along with many other countries here, to help with that transformation. And please use me, please use my colleagues here. We've got a stand here, which I hope people will visit to look at what we have to offer. But in the end, you need the government to set the vision, you need the knowledge, so you're going to need the scientists and the researchers, and you're going to need the companies then to deliver on the vision and on the development with the development of knowledge. But ultimately, we are going to have to do this together. No country is capable of doing it on its own. Even the might of India, we are going to have to do it together. And I look at what we managed to achieve on COVID in about 18 months in terms of vision, research, and then companies delivering outcomes. And I take inspiration from that. As Walter said, you have the immediate things. But actually, we have been able to we're here today Yeah, I'm standing here because of a combination of political vision, knowledge development, which is essential, yeah? The research is essential, and then the delivery by companies. In the end, it's companies that are making these vaccines, yeah? But working with government. And if we can do it for that, we must be able to do it for this. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you for your address. May I now request His Excellency Hugo Astuto, Ambassador of the European Union to India, to present his keynote address. The Ambassador, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be here for this edition of Renewable Energy India, face-to-face, finally. With an excellent title, actually, From Ambition to Action, Taking Giant Leaps Forward. And that is exactly what is needed in this defining year for the planet. So we need to be ambitious, and we need to take action. And the time for action is now, indeed. So we have to work towards recovery from the pandemic and to take bold decisions at COP15 on biodiversity and at COP26 on climate change. So we all know that no country can tackle the pandemic alone, and the same is true for climate change and biodiversity loss. So we need to address these global challenges together. From the EU side, our actions are guided by the European Green Deal. The recovery package that we have set together, new next generation European Union, defines our new growth strategy. We need to change the very paradigm of growth. So we need to achieve growth through the protection of the environment and a sustainable approach to resource use. We must overcome the challenges of climate change and environmental degradation and transition towards a green, digital, and resilient economic model. Now, the European Green Deal, together with the digital transformation agenda, are at the core of this recovery package. And we want to move to a climate-neutral European continent by 2050, to a clean, circular economy. So the European Green Deal is underpinned by several strands of action. Let me mention a few: a massive renovation of infrastructure, transition to renewable energy, wind, solar, hydrogen, cleaner transport and logistics, strengthening support measures for reskilling to help business create new economic opportunities for those employed in sectors being phased out. So energy will be a key part of the solution. We all know that. In the European Union, energy production and energy consumption together are responsible for 75% of greenhouse gas emissions. So we need to transform energy production and consumption patterns. And we need to change the way our energy systems are designed to better integrate renewable energy and ensure the stability of our networks. And in doing so, let's not forget that such a transition is a challenge indeed, but it's also a great opportunity for a green industrial revolution. It's a fact that renewable energy has already become the cheapest option in a number of countries, and India and the EU certainly fit this description. In 2020, renewable power generation has overtaken fossil fuels in the European Union. Wind and solar now account for 20% of power generation, compared to 13% from coal-fired power stations. So scaling up renewables massively is also about removing practical and legal barriers. And in the EU, we are now looking at how permits are granted and how we can boost investment and facilitate, promote cross-border cooperation in renewables. We want to inject renewables in all sectors of the economy, and especially those that have been lagging behind. And I'm referring here, for instance, to the building sector, heating, cooling, and transport. We are also giving a boost to the hydrogen industry. We are doing this by setting targets for the transport and industry sectors and setting out a definition for renewable hydrogen and rules for its certification. We are also reinforcing the sustainability criteria of biomass. But bioenergy is by all means an important source of renewables, but obviously bioenergy can be part of the Green Deal only if it's produced in a sustainable fashion. We are all aware of the pressure on our ecosystems and especially on our forests. The clean energy transition means abandoning fossil fuels progressively. It's only by reducing our production and consumption of fossil fuels that we can deliver on the Paris Agreement. And by 2050, the situation in Europe will have changed radically, with fossil fuel consumption reduced to a fraction of current levels. We need to be aware that not everyone will immediately profit from the transition. And that's why we need to ensure that workers in carbon-intensive sectors will be retrained, and the poor do not suffer from climate action. And in this context, the sharing of experiences will be vital. So we need to make sure that no one is left behind. In July, the European Commission adopted a package of proposals to make the EU energy, land use, transport, and taxation policies fit for our new ambitious targets. Because we have agreed to increase, to make more ambitious our 2030 target for emission reduction. So from 40% to at least 55% reduction compared to 1990 baseline in 2030. And these objectives have been set down in a climate law. So we are not talking here about a generic aspiration, but a legal prescription that we will fulfill. Public regulation and money need to set the right incentives for the private capital to be oriented towards funding this clean energy transition. Because as previous speakers said, the private sector will be key. As the scale of the challenge is global, international actors are searching for attractive investment options. And capital markets need to be mobilized. And in all these areas, we are keen to work together with India. We need to compare notes, we need to exchange technical and policy information and experiences, and mobilize sustainable financing. And I'm glad to say that the European Union and India are already cooperating very closely in a number of areas, in energy efficiency, in renewable energy, in power market design, in climate mitigation and adaptation. And we also actively support the two flagship initiatives launched by India, the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. We are very glad to be a partner to this Renewable Energy India Expo. We are also virtually present with a new zone showcasing EU technology, products and expertise from all EU member states. And in addition, this afternoon, the European Union organizes a session on business models for rooftop solar. And another session will take place tomorrow on the skills required for offshore wind sector. So in conclusion, the transition is on its way and it is inevitable. Countries still planning huge investment in fossil fuels should be aware of the rising risk of ending up with expensive, unproductive assets. The clean energy transition will improve our quality and lower import dependency. And I think it's fair to say today that the cost of action is much smaller than the cost of inaction. We both have, the European Union and India, we both have very ambitious renewable energy targets for the next decade. And together, I think we can demonstrate that strong government goals do drive innovation for our economies and can significantly contribute to reaching the Paris Agreement objectives. So we need to be ambitious and to take action now for the sake of future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for your address. Thank you. May I now request Shri Popli, Advisor, International Solar Alliance, to present his special address.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Union Minister of State, Shri Khuba Sahab, for MNRE and Fertilizers and Chemical, Bhagwanth Khuba sir, His Excellency Hugo Astuto, Ambassador of European Union of Germany, European Union, Ellis, British High Commissioner to India, His Excellency Walter J. Lindner, Ambassador of Germany to India, Shri Narendra Bhooshan, CEO, Greater Noida Authority, Mr. Sanjeev, Krishan, Chairman, PwC, Yogesh, Mudras, MD, Informa Markets, Mr. Rajneesh Khattar, Group Director, Informa Markets, Dignitaries of the Dais, Mr. Manu Srivastava from Government of MP, Winfried Dam from GIZ, Mr. Pranav Mehta, other dignitaries, friends. It's really a pleasure to be speaking to all of you this morning. We have been talking about climate change, sir, and we know that the first climate mission was announced in 2008, when 8 missions were announced, and first mission on solar energy, National Solar Mission, was announced in 2009-10, when that time also a huge target of 20 gigawatt was announced. Everybody believed that it will be very difficult to achieve this because the tariffs were 15 rupees. We not only achieved it, after coming of this government, we made this target 5 times. We are already achieved 40 gigawatt. We have achieved 1 lakh gigawatt of renewable energy, and our target is 175 by 2022. We are on track to achieve that. Maybe there would be some minor slippages, but we are more or less there. And then, under vision of Prime Minister Modi, we have made it 450 gigawatt, which is a huge, huge target. We find some talk of date for net zero emissions. Though India has not given a date for net zero, but I feel we are doing much more than achieving net zero by 2050. A 450 gigawatt target, supplemented by Atmanirbhar Bharat and PLI scheme, because you cannot achieve such a large target by importing panels. You all know that we had been importing 80 to 90% of panels. So that PLI scheme that Government of India has launched is gaining a lot of traction. We feel that 20 to 30 gigawatt of cells and modules will start getting manufactured in India. And we will not only be meeting our demand, but we will also be exporting, sir. We have been planning to decarbonize the whole of economy, with electricity sector reaching 90% by 2050. With renewable energy, we will also be, we are already decarbonizing, taking steps for our agriculture sector with Kusum scheme, which is a huge success. It will increase income of the farmers. It will prevent depletion of water table, and also decarbonize the agriculture sector. Similarly, we are today spending 90% of our gasoline and diesel on transport sector. We are blending ethanol with petrol today at 8%. The government has very ambitiously raised it to 20% by 23-24. And probably 30%. So that will be a huge push for decarbonizing the transport sector, which contributes to almost 28% of the total emissions. And this we will be achieving by 2030 itself. Last 15% of the economy is very difficult to decarbonize. That is steel sector, cement sector. long distance trucking, shipping, aviation. Now, government has already thought about it. We are in midst of launching hydrogen mission. One of our largest industrial houses has already said that he will be making a huge investment in green hydrogen. He has also said that he will be bringing down the price to $1 per kg. Now, if all these things happen, and we are not talking about 2050, we are talking about 2030 for this, maybe 2035 for this. So we will be much before the target of achieving net zero. Today, sir, we are emitting 2.6 gigatons of carbon dioxide, which is 6% of the global emissions. We are 18%. If you look at population per capita emissions, we are 1/3. But notwithstanding that, not to talk about energy justice, we are pushing ahead. There will be cost involved by putting in 450 gigawatt of renewable energy in 8 years, because we will be backing down thermal power plant. That will have a cost. But at the same time, we will be further pushing decarbonization, because thermal plants no new thermal plants are likely to come after maybe 2 to 3 years. So overall, we are already set towards meeting that goal of net zero, and we will be leading this. Besides this, sir, we have not left it to India itself. In 2015, Honorable Prime Minister with President of France launched National Solar Mission, International Solar Alliance. Now, International Solar Alliance today has 98 nations supporting ISA's framework agreement for solar transition. We have Germany, France, European Union supporting us as a country, as well as ISA. ISA aims to help reduce carbon emissions by 1,000 million tons by 2030, ensure energy access to 1,000 million people using energy transition, enabling energy transition of 1,000 gigawatt of solar energy, mobilizing $1,000 billion of solar investment. ISA's intention is to make solar the preferred solution for its stakeholders. Some of the significant actions I would just like to share with you that have been made by ISA are that 30 to 50% reduction in price of solar pumps we could achieve by aggregating pump demand. So those countries who are going for solar pumps, they can procure it now at a much lower rate, sir. ISA has received 4.5 gigawatt of concept projects from 41 member countries. ISA has already provided training to 1,300 professionals, bankers, technicians, and master trainers, and has facilitated financial assistance for 47 pilot projects so far. One of the biggest challenges that ISA is facing today is that different countries have different requirements, and we will have to work out on different models to support each country. Funding support to ISA will help build bankable pipeline of projects and widen its impact. ISA is also working on creation and enrichment of market ecosystem for decentralized and grid-connected solar solution. ISA is also working on Honorable PM's vision of one sun, one world, one grid for realizing energy transition, energy security, and energy access for its member countries. So we are, my point was that we are not only working in India, we are working beyond our borders to meet the challenge together, and we are all together in this. Wish you all the very best. Must congratulate Informa Media for organizing this conference. This is the first, I think, the start on a physical conference, and congratulations to both of you, and thanks to each one of you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Popli sir, for sharing the views and for your address. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have former Minister, MSME, Government of India, Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi ji with us. Mr. Sarangi. Pleasure. Thank you. Requesting Shri Narendra Bhooshan, IAS, Chief Executive Officer, Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority, to present his special address. Mr. Bhooshan.
Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, especially Honorable Minister of State, Shri Bhagwanth Khuba ji, His Excellencies on the Dais, Excellencies of the Dais, esteemed organizers, friends, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. First of all, let me start by thanking the organizers for not only inviting me here and interacting with you all, but as CEO of this Greater Noida city, a city which is very young, a city which has included some of the elements of sustainability in its design. It is just a city 30 years old. So they have given me this opportunity of welcoming you to such a city, which is the futuristic city. I also thank Informa Market, the organizers, for starting these expos. We are coming back to the physical world from the virtual world, which is very, very important. And it brings a lot of business to us. So I welcome all the delegates. Friends, as you know, our Prime Minister Modi, he has brought up his ambitious one sun, one world, one grid plan. In line with our Indian philosophy, in our Indian religion, sun is considered as one of the most important gods, the Surya Devta, which envisages us to have an interconnected power transmission grid across nations for the supply of clean energy. His Excellency British High Commission also spoke about it, that we have to do it together. This vision behind the one sun, one world, one grid plan is that sun never sets and is a constant at some geographical location at any point of the world. So in line with Prime Minister's vision of this solar energy, under the dynamic leadership of our Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji, I would like to share some of the initiatives which are very small but very significant initiatives which city of Greater Noida has undertaken till now. In terms of its design, the percentage share of master greens is probably one of the largest in India at 18 to 19% at master plan greens level. Way back about 9 years back, in 2012-2013, Greater Noida made a symbolic gesture by initiating and setting up a 1 megawatt
solar power plant, and we are now planning to double this capacity. We have one 40-kilometer long Havelia drain, and we are working on a project, because this is very long drain and very wide, setting up solar power plant over the length and breadth of this power plant, and our about 2 megawatt project tender covering about 3 to 4 kilometers will be tendered out in next 1 month from now. And our ministers will be happy, very happy to note that only last week, sir, we awarded one project for supply, installation, commissioning and O&M of about 70,000 LED street lights for the city of Greater Noida worth more than 50 crores. This is in line with your ministry's initiative of 1 million smart LED lights. Sir, our DISCOM, we are a promoter of our DISCOM, also 26% promoter. So NPCL, Noida Power Company Limited, is the only private DISCOM in the state of Uttar Pradesh. They have long-term PPAs of 50 megawatt of solar power and 10 megawatt of wind power in line with our, as part of our RPO obligations. And we keep on purchasing the micro-hydel power also. Being planning regulator, the city of Greater Noida, our authority being planning regulator also, we are actively working on formulating regulations where we plan to make mandatory captive solar generations for all plots, be it in industrial sector, commercial sector, residential sector, of a given size, say more than 5,000 square meters. We are implementing two very large projects, multimodal logistic hub and multimodal transport hub, taking advantage, delivering that the junction between two dedicated freight corridors, the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor and Amritsar-Kolkata dedicated freight corridor is located right in Greater Noida at New Dadri. So leveraging that, we are implementing two big projects where we are inviting private sector participation in PPP mode worth more than 3,000 crores in each of these projects. And these projects will contribute a great way in reducing the carbon footprints both on transport, on logistic transports. We assure all the business, all the manufacturers that evacuation of any manufactured goods from this part of India to any part in India, to any port in India, will take less than 24 hours after these projects are implemented in next 3 years, which is the normal time taken to transport these goods is from 3 to 6 days as of now. Sir, since there are a lot of manufacturers, so I cannot stop myself from telling some of the unique selling points of this city. We are popularly known as University City. We have already 5 universities here. 2 more universities are in the pipeline, and we have many engineering colleges, technical colleges, medical universities, everything. So technical and professional manpower is in abundance. In terms of ease of doing business, Uttar Pradesh has jumped to 2nd position last year, jumping about 12 positions in ranking as compared to the other states. And Greater Noida is emerging as the most preferred investment destination, not only at India level. During COVID times also, we have been getting an investment running to the tune of 8,000 to 9,000 crores. And I invite all the manufacturers who are present here. Now, since the organizers in Informa Markets have done well by inviting you here, so my request is, please stay here, set up your business, set up your house, set up anything, but stay here. And I assure you on behalf of State Government of Uttar Pradesh, on behalf of City Government, that as we have done in ease of doing business, you will not find us wanting. We have been allotting land in less than 30 cases in any day, 30 days, and in some cases we have allotted land in as low as 5 days. So my request to all of you. So I will sum up by saying that please take some time to visit. We have some lovely places here. There is a Greg Norman designed golf course here. There is a world famous Surajpur wet sanctuary also. Please take some time to visit those places also. And in the end, again, I hope that the deliberations at this conference will lead us to more blessings from our gods. The sun god, which is the Surya Devta, the wind god, in the form of solar energy, wind energy, and more renewables. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhooshan, for bringing up the aspects of Greater Noida city and the opportunities which lie over here. Thank you so much. May I now request our guest of honor, Shri Bhagwanth Khuba, Honorable Minister of State, New and Renewable Energy, Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India, to present his guest of honor address. Sir.
Good afternoon to everybody. Renewable Energy India Expo 2021. On the Dais, Mr. Sanjeev Krishnaji, His Excellency Walter Lindner ji, His Excellency Ellis, His Excellency Astuto ji, Shri Popli ji, Shri Narendra Bhooshan ji, and Shri Khattar ji, and all dignitaries on the Dais, of the Dais, and especially our ex-Minister, Mr. Sanjeev ji, and media persons. Renewable energy, particularly in India, since last 7 years, under the leadership of our beloved Prime Minister Shri Narendra ji, he has been set a target of 175 gigawatt by 2020 and 450 gigawatt by 2030. not only India, the whole world know very well. What the Narendra Modi ji set the target, the India will achieve. And the same thing happened. The 175 gigawatt, he has set a target by 2022. Only before this 15th of August, Government of India has achieved 101 gigawatt of power generation. Another 50 gigawatt, all the projects are under progress. And the left 25 gigawatt already in the process of tendering and bidding. So by 2022, India's target 175 gigawatt, we are sure we are achieving. And you know, the Prime Minister already set a 450 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030. Our ministry already working by way of focus to achieve 450 gigawatt by 2030 by means of all the renewable energies including solar, wind, biomass, waste energy, and the last year our Prime Minister has announced hydrogen mission, and our Finance Minister last budget, she has announced the hydrogen mission. And Prime Minister is very keen to make a good progress in hydrogen mission also. You know all, India is a very potential market also. And now the Indian government is to create a demand for the renewable energies, particularly the hydrogen mission, hydrogen energy. So that in that progress, all the concerned ministries is working on that mission also. You know the biomass in India, nearly 756 million metric tons of biomass is generated in India. Out of that, 550 plus is consumed locally in the form of fodders and other form of other energy. The left of 226 million metric tons of biomass is available for the manufacture of briquettes and pellets. You all are well aware the biomass pellets are very demanding in European countries. Even our government is thinking to reduce this decarbonization. Such industries like steel, cement, textile, heavy industries, along with the coal, should use minimum 5 to 10% of this biomass fuels. So you all are well aware of the India believe Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The Prime Minister is also believe in this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam principle. He has announced International Solar Alliance, he has attended the Paris conference. One sun, one world and one dream. In that alliance, right now around 80 countries have been signed. The youngest country is Germany. So in international solar energy, all countries are very keen to progress together, prosper together. Definitely, International Solar Alliance will deliver a very good future for the world. So this Renewable Energy India Expo, coming 3 days from today, it will witness the sharing of knowledge, sharing of technology, sharing of demand in the market. So in new innovations also. This is a very good initiative to come together, to develop together. Even our one of guests is mentioned, solar energy. We are producing in India since last 7 years, particularly the huge amount. But somehow we are behind in manufacturing the silicons, the wafers, the batteries, cells, models. So now our Prime Minister has given a task as in the slogan of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So now in future, so India should produce all these components, the required components in India. So most of the business houses are very keen to show the interest in manufacturing all these components in India, so that in future solar energy still become very easy to set up a projects in India. As mentioned by one of our International Solar Energies chairman, many schemes in our ministry, the PLI schemes. So still we are bringing more PLIs in this sector. So I mean to say, this sector is very potential for bringing the technology, manufacturing sector, and also consuming sector also. So that I hope this 3-day expo will bring, after post this COVID, physical presence, and also bring very good sharing each other, creating a market also. So I thank these organizers for conducting a 3-day expo, and I thank all dignitaries on the Dais, of the Dais, organizers, media persons. Thank you so much. Jai Hind. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, Minister, for your address. As the slogan says, let's reconnect and rearm. Thank you for bringing the initiatives of the Indian government. Ladies and gentlemen, before I call Mr. Rajneesh Khattar for his vote of thanks, I would like to invite an extraordinary personality of the renewable energy sector in India. The first and only Indian to head the Global Solar Council, which was formed at Paris during the COP21 Paris Agreement Days in December 2015. He's the first and only Indian to get the Solar Visionary Influencer and Disruptor Award. A man who has made outstanding contributions in India, achieving a place in the top 5 solar countries in the world. India's solar ambassador to the world and a promoter and a friend of Renewable Energy India Expo. Mr. Pranam Mehta, Chairman of National Solar Energy Federation of India. We request him to come on the stage and request the Honorable Minister and Guest of Honor to present a small token of appreciation to celebrate his 50th year as Karm Yogi and for his splendid achievements in the RE sector. Minister, please. A token of appreciation to Mr. Pranam Mehta by the Minister. A round of applause. Congratulations, Pranam sir. We look forward to a brighter road ahead with your guidance and experience. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. On this note, may I request Mr. Rajneesh Khattar, Group Director, Informa Markets in India, to take over and present his vote of thanks. Mr. Khattar, please.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think, although I know that we are running behind time, but I think I have waited good 2 years to be on this podium today. So I think I have earned the right to be here at least for the next 5 minutes. I think we have all been talking about, what targets India has achieved, where India is heading to. But I would like to give a big credit to one gentleman who is amongst us today. I think it was his vision and it was under his leadership when India actually achieved the first breakthrough in the grid parity. None other than Mr. Manish Srivastava. When he was the Principal Secretary, Government of Madhya Pradesh, the REI Ultra Mega Solar Plant, I think that was the first Ultra Mega plant, which came up and it absolutely broke all the barriers of grid parity. And I think India owes a lot to him. I've seen him from close quarters, and I think he's a great ambassador, not only of our event. Thank you, Manuji. He's also a great ambassador of the sector, and this is why we can see that he's currently with the Ministry of. He's an administrative member of the Revenue Department, but we still have him with us, and he's been very kind, very knowledgeable, and as I said, he's a great ambassador of the sector. I look at it, when I see the forum, I see this energy on the aisles. I actually want to present this event, REI Expo, to all those who discourage us to go physical. I would like to present this expo to all those who said no to our efforts. They said it's going to be disastrous, and that actually helped us and motivated us to move forward. And here we are. So what if the show is smaller than the previous years? But the intent behind this has been absolutely great. So what if there are less participation from the previous years? The character what the team and the management has shown is far bigger and far higher. So what if our opening ceremony is not to the great aura what we have seen in the past, it's flashy. We are known for that. But I think the Dais is second to none. And we can literally we can raise a toast on this, that the kind of dignitaries we have on board today, including the ministers, I think I really have no more words. This actually shows that it's not only the grit, the determination, but more than that, it's the passion of the industry which has helped us to be where we are. We have saved against all the odds. But when you see this happening and you forget about all your tiredness, about all those midnight oils that you have burned to make sure a great success. And I think I really owe it to the team members, the industry, the exhibitors who are with us. And let me also share with you that last 2 days I have received 7 such communications of the big clients, I would not like to name them, who said no to the physical version, and they're saying that Rajneesh, we were wrong. We should have helped you when you actually needed us most. So we are really apologetic about it, and so this is what industry is thinking about. So I think this is an effort which we have taken, which will go a long way in cementing our bond and enforcement of our bond with the industry. And I think thanks to everyone, thanks to all my team, thanks to the dignitaries, thanks to all my colleagues and the support functions who have really made this to happen, all the media partners. And one last but not the least, the venue owner, the venue India Expo Center. I think I have my friend in Sanjeev Sarkar, and really I have no words to thank him that how much they have gone out of their skin to help us put this event. And I think the support what we are getting from the venue is as important. And of course, I remember my very quick and brief meeting with Mr. Narendra Bhooshan when I visited his office, and I was almost emotional when he said that, Rajneesh, it's not your show, it's my show. The onus is on me to welcome the delegates, not on you. And gentlemen, if you can see the hoardings outside, it says, welcome delegates to the green and sustainable city, Greater Noida. And our logo is just at Hong Kong. So I think this is what we say, that things are so inspirational, and I really hope that this opens more doors and windows for all of us to get more connected. I think done enough of virtual, but this is a place we actually belong to. And as I said, it's a wonderful feeling. It's absolutely surreal. It's magical. And thanks so much. And thanks His Excellency Mr. Ellis about mentioning Jasprit Bumrah. And let me also tell you that we had a very young 18-year-old girl from Britain who won the US Open this time. So that also, Emma Radhakrishnan. Thank you very much, and make the best of your 3 days. I'm sure there's sort of exhibitors waiting for you to visit their booths. There are knowledge sessions, as has been explained earlier, and I wish you all the very best, very productive, very fruitful 3 days. Thank you very much, and all the best. Thank you.